What is up, my Alliance Insurance friends? It's John from Alliance, here today to talk about homeowners insurance. Now, it's something that we probably think we know a lot about, but most people don't really understand what their policy covers and how much coverage is enough. So let's talk about it. Today, I'm going to be dropping knowledge like Oprah drops cars.
You get a house. And you get a house. And you get a house. And you get a house.
Well, that was kind of crazy. So, whether you are brand new to homeowners insurance, your mortgage professional said, if you want to know a little bit more about it, maybe you should watch this video. If you are brand new, welcome. It's really exciting. Congratulations on getting a home. Or maybe you've had a house for a long time and now you think something has changed, or I just want to know more. And if that's the case, you're in the right place. So let's look into it. A homeowner's policy is divided into two basic parts. You've got your property and you've got your liability. Let's break those down. So first, property. This is what most people think of when they think of a homeowner's policy. They think that a homeowner's policy is for one specific thing. If my house, God forbid, burns to the ground, insurance pays for it. And that's pretty much where homeowners insurance came from. But it's expanded now, and it covers a lot more than just that one bad thing that can happen and that one part of your home, the dwelling itself. So dwelling coverage is just the first part of the coverage in a homeowner's policy. The second part is called other structures, and that can be anything from an outbuilding to a barn, all kinds of things that are other structures that are not attached to the main house. Those are covered under your homeowner's policy, which is fantastic. So the third thing that's covered under the property section of your homeowner's policy is your personal property. The things you own, your stuff, right? Everything that's inside that house, that's what's going to be covered. And that's a huge part of this policy. So if something does happen, the material items that are inside your house are going to be covered. Now, we'll break it down a little bit more. There's some nuance to that. But essentially, the personal property inside your home, that's that third part. The fourth part is loss of use, and most people don't even know this is on there. And so loss of use covers the loss of use of your home. So let's say that something bad does happen, right? You have a fire, you have to rebuild. What are you going to do in the meantime? So loss of use covers that eventuality. It makes sure that insurance will pay for you to stay somewhere else while they're also paying for your home to be repaired or rebuilt. So this is a fantastic piece of coverage that most people aren't even really aware exists on their policy. So the second part, right, number 2 of your homeowner's policy, liability protection. This is something that most people might be vaguely aware of, but it's a massive part of the protection offered by your homeowner's policy, because your liability protection can protect you from a slew of things that can happen while you're a homeowner. Essentially, all liability coverage protects you from lawsuits, from things that can happen in the legal system, things that you are liable for according to the law. So if something happens, usually what we think of is someone else who does not live at your home getting injured on your property. You are liable since it happened on your property. So liability protection covers something like that. It covers someone else getting hurt on your property and any manner of other things that could happen that you might be found liable for. So that is a really rushed introduction to homeowners insurance. But right off the bat, I hope that you know that your homeowners policy, whether you're about to get one or whether you've had one for a while, does a lot more than you think it does. So let's dig a little deeper and see how those coverages actually work in your homeowner's policy. So dwelling coverage. Most people think that whatever they paid for their house is what the home should be insured for. But that's not really the way it works. The main reason is because in insurance, we have to insure a home for how much it would cost to rebuild, not how much it would cost to buy. So market value is not as important as replacement cost. And that's how much it would cost to rebuild your home, right? Which is way more important. We're not buying you a new home. What we're doing is we're going to rebuild your current home, your existing property. So personal property seems pretty straightforward. We cover the items that you own inside your home, right? Well, there are certain items that are high value items. They're the most common items that something can happen to, usually through something like theft. That means that they're covered for a lesser amount, a fixed amount, right? And these items are things like jewelry, firearms, furs, silverware. We're talking these high value items, small, easy to lose, easy to steal. So these are going to be covered for fixed amounts that are much lower than what most people think that they have coverage for. So check with your insurance agent if you have a lot of jewelry, if you have a lot of firearms or something like that, and ask what your coverages are on your homeowner's policy if you don't already know. So this little tip right here could save you a lot of trouble if something does, God forbid, happen to your home. So liability-wise, most people don't want a lot of liability insurance. They think that this is an area that they can just put a low amount on to save a little bit of money. But what they don't understand is that liability is massive, especially today in our litigation-happy world. It's just sad but true. This is really an area where you can get a lot of coverage that you may really need for not a lot of money. I mean, liability protection is really inexpensive, so the difference between something like $100,000 of liability coverage and $300,000 of liability coverage is really not that much. This is something that I always encourage people to look at. At Alliance, we always recommend at least $300,000 of liability protection, because in a court system today, that can be used like that. So make sure you have enough liability protection, and if you don't know how much liability protection you have, call your agent or call us and we will look at that and let you know if we advise for you to have more liability coverage. So it's possible to have more coverage than a base level of homeowners policy. Now, that may sound a little confusing because, for example, an auto insurance policy, if you want more coverage, you just add more coverage on that one type of policy. And you can do that certainly on your basic level of homeowners insurance. There are better policies like an HO5 and, in North Carolina at least, an HE7. So what these policies do are they provide a wider net of protection around your home. They also can do things like give you more coverage on those high value items that we talked about earlier, right? So their basic levels of protection are going to be higher for things like jewelry and firearms and furs and whatever else. And that's it. So thanks so much for being with me here today to talk a little bit about homeowners insurance, kind of a homeowners 101, if you will. If you have any questions, please reach out to whoever your agent might be or to us here at Alliance Insurance. We'll be happy to speak with you about it. Thanks again, and have a good one.